Have you ever noticed how quickly words lose weight when you stop being available? Promises sound powerful when you are present, patient, and giving, but the moment you step back, reality starts speaking in a language that cannot be faked. Let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable, but will set you free. What if the truth you've been waiting for doesn't arrive through explanations, apologies, or reassurance, but through silence and distance? Most people talk themselves into confusion because they are afraid to step back. They fear that pulling away means losing control. Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite. Control is not found in chasing clarity. Control is found in allowing behavior to reveal intention. Epictetus warned us, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." And embodiment begins when you stop forcing conversations and start watching actions. When you step back, you remove pressure, and pressure is what keeps false effort alive. Without your presence propping things up, reality collapses into honesty. Some people rise, others disappear. Both outcomes are information. This is not about testing anyone. This is about refusing to lie to yourself. When you stop overgiving, overtexting, and over-explaining, you regain your center. You stop negotiating your worth. You stop mistaking potential for commitment. Stepping back is not weakness. It is discipline. It is emotional control. It is the quiet confidence of someone who knows their value does not depend on being chosen. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." That means choosing composure over chaos and clarity over hope. This video is about forcing reality to speak louder than promises by doing one powerful thing most people avoid. You step back, you observe. You let time expose who deserved access to you and who only wanted convenience. You don't argue with words. You let patterns tell the story. And before we move forward, anchor yourself in this truth. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I step back with confidence. Begins with a hard truth you must accept immediately if you want your power back. Stepping back is not passive waiting. It is deliberate withdrawal of access, and access is currency. When you stay constantly available, you remove the need for effort. When you pause your presence, you activate truth. Most people panic here and think silence means losing ground, but Stoic discipline demands the opposite reaction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." That means you do not need to react, clarify, defend, or chase understanding. The moment you stop filling the space with your energy, the other person is forced to confront the gap you used to occupy. This is where reality begins to speak. Someone serious will move with consistency, patience, and respect. Someone driven by comfort will grow restless, irritated, or vanish. That response is not your responsibility to fix. Your role is to observe without interference. Do not announce your distance. Do not explain your boundaries. Do not hint. Silence works only when it is clean. This is not about manipulation. It is about self-command. You are not pulling away to punish. You are pulling away to protect your nervous system, your focus, and your dignity. When you stop initiating, stop rescuing conversations, and stop carrying emotional weight that is not yours, you create a vacuum that exposes intent. The Stoics understood that restraint is strength. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Decide that you are someone who values consistency over words, then act accordingly. Every time you resist the urge to check, explain, or re-enter too soon, you train emotional discipline. This is how confidence is built in silence, not through affirmation from others, but through trust in your own restraint. You are not waiting for them to change. You are watching who they already are when you are no longer overextending. Hold this line. Let behavior do the talking. Demands that you shift your attention away from what they say and place it firmly on what happens when you are no longer doing the emotional labor. This is where most people fail, because listening feels easier than observing. Words are comfortable, promises sound hopeful, explanations feel soothing, but Stoic thinking rejects comfort when it hides truth. Seneca warned, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." He meant that life reveals itself through patterns, not speeches. When you step back, stop measuring meaning by messages, tone, or apologies. Measure by direction, follow-through, and timing. Are they adjusting their behavior without being coached? Are they showing initiative without being reminded? Are they respecting your space without guilt-tripping or urgency? This is not coldness, this is clarity. You are not here to decode mixed signals anymore. You are here to read reality as it is. The moment you stop translating excuses into hope, your judgment sharpens. Silence removes the stage where empty words perform. What remains is movement or stillness, effort or avoidance, and both are answers. Do not interrupt this process by reaching out for reassurance. Do not test them. Do not give hints. Let them fully express who they are when you are no longer compensating. This is self-respect in motion. The Stoics believed virtue begins with honest perception. If someone truly values you, distance will not confuse them. It will clarify their intention. If they relied on your availability for comfort, your absence will expose that dependence. Either outcome serves you. Power returns the moment you stop negotiating with uncertainty. You are not being harsh. You are being exact. You are allowing truth to stand without distortion. That is emotional maturity. Hold steady. Watch carefully. Let the answer arrive without interference. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I trust behavior over language. Reclaim authority over your inner world, because stepping back is useless if your mind keeps chasing answers. This is the stage where silence must be paired with discipline, not daydreaming. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That line is not poetic, it is a command. When you stop reacting, your thoughts will try to fill the gap with imagined outcomes, replayed conversations, and future fantasies. Shut that down immediately. Do not romanticize absence. Do not assign meaning where none has been proven. Your task here is mental order. You do this by redirecting focus into areas that compound your self-respect. Train your body. Organize your environment. Commit to work that demands concentration. Speak less about your situation and more about your direction. Every minute spent monitoring them is a minute stolen from your growth. This is not avoidance. This is leadership of self. Emotional control is not numbness. It is precision. You decide what gets access to your attention, and right now, uncertainty gets nothing. When you feel the urge to check, to analyze, to wonder, interrupt it with action. Move, build, learn. Create distance between impulse and response until reaction loses its grip. This is how you starve anxiety. This is how confidence returns. People sense this shift, even if you never announce it. Energy changes when you stop leaking it. You become grounded, unavailable to chaos, steady in your own rhythm. This is the version of you that no longer needs explanations. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are choosing your standards. Stoicism teaches that a calm mind is an unassailable fortress. Guard it. No one earns access to your thoughts without consistency. Stand firm in this practice until it becomes natural. Demands that you stop negotiating your worth internally, because stepping back only works when your standards are non-negotiable. This is the phase where many people fail, not because they lack strength, but because they secretly hope behavior will change without consequences. Seneca warned, "He who indulges himself destroys himself." Read that again. When you lower expectations to keep peace, you teach others that access to you is cheap. Silence is not passive here, it is a filter. Anyone serious will rise to clarity through consistent effort, not vague interest or occasional signals. You do not hint, you do not test, you do not probe, you observe. This is where reality exposes intentions without confrontation. If someone truly values you, they move with purpose, respect boundaries, and bring certainty. If they hesitate, disappear, confuse, or breadcrumb, your response is not disappointment, it is confirmation. You do not chase explanations because clarity never hides. Your job is to hold the line. That means deciding in advance what you accept and refusing to bend when emotions try to soften your resolve. Self-respect is quiet, but firm. You don't announce rules, you enforce them through behavior. When you stay consistent, the dynamic shifts. People either step up or step away, and both outcomes serve you. This is not punishment, this is alignment. You are no longer reacting to what they do, you are responding to what you deserve. Emotional control here looks like patience without attachment. You are open, but not available to disorder, calm, but not flexible on values. This is power rooted in identity, not outcome. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Translation: do not mirror confusion, do not mirror avoidance, do not mirror inconsistency. Stay solid. When you stop compromising your standards, you stop attracting situations that require compromise. This point is about trust in yourself. Trust that walking away from ambiguity protects your future. Trust that silence backed by boundaries speaks louder than explanations ever could. Seal this mindset now, where you fully detach from the outcome and reclaim authority over your inner state. Because stepping back loses its force the moment you secretly wait for a specific result. This is not about hoping they realize something or return transformed. This is about removing your emotional investment from their decisions entirely. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In modern terms, stop needing validation for your restraint. When you release the need for reassurance, you stop bleeding energy into situations that do not earn it. Your calm becomes unshakable because it no longer depends on what happens next. This is the stage where silence stops being a tactic and becomes a natural expression of self-mastery. You focus forward. You pour attention into growth, structure, discipline, and personal momentum. You don't check for signs. You don't read between lines. You don't interpret delays. You move as if your life is already full, because it is. Detachment is not coldness, it is clarity without desperation. This is where confidence sharpens. People sense when you are no longer emotionally accessible on demand, and that shift is unmistakable. The moment you stop caring how your absence is perceived, it starts carrying weight. You are no longer available to confusion, emotional debt, or unfinished stories. You accept that some chapters end without explanation, and that peace is more valuable than understanding. This mindset requires discipline because the ego wants closure, but the Stoic path teaches freedom through acceptance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This is where you practice that truth daily. You regulate your thoughts. You interrupt nostalgia. You redirect attention. You choose actions that build strength instead of feeding memory. When detachment is complete, your presence becomes a privilege, not a placeholder. Anyone who wants access must align with your reality, not disrupt it. You stop shrinking yourself to fit unfinished connections. You expand beyond them. This point is not about being unreachable. It is about being unreachable to chaos. Decide now to guard your peace with the same intensity you once guarded others' feelings. Lock this in by affirming it publicly. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I release attachment to outcomes. Where you stop managing impressions and start living in alignment with your standards, because the moment you care how your distance looks, you give power back to outside opinions. This stage demands internal leadership. Seneca warned, "He who is brave is free." And bravery here means refusing to explain, justify, or soften your choices for anyone who did not protect your peace. You no longer check if your silence seems rude, confusing, or dramatic. You know why you stepped back, and that is enough. This is the phase where your behavior becomes consistent, not performative. You show up the same way whether anyone is watching or not. You stop signaling strength and start embodying it. That means no indirect messages, no cryptic posts, no subtle attempts to be noticed. You move clean, you move honest, you move forward. When people cannot read you, it is not because you are hiding, it is because you are no longer available for emotional decoding. This unsettles those who relied on your reactions for reassurance or control. Your steadiness creates contrast. Your calm exposes instability without you saying a word. This is where authority forms, not through dominance, but through self-governance. You decide your pace. You decide your availability. You decide what earns your attention, and you do not negotiate those decisions with guilt. The Stoics believed that character is revealed through repeated actions, not dramatic moments. So you reinforce this point daily by choosing structure over impulse, discipline over nostalgia, direction over distraction. You invest energy into habits that sharpen your body, mind, and purpose. You fill your schedule with progress, so there is no room for regression. When questions arise, you let them pass unanswered. When curiosity pulls, you stay rooted. When doubt whispers, you return to principle. This is not emotional withdrawal. This is emotional maturity. You are no longer trying to be understood by those who misunderstood you before. You understand yourself now. That clarity is unshakable. The less you explain, the stronger your position becomes, because confidence does not argue. Cement this shift with intention. Where you stop waiting for outcomes and start trusting process, because silence is not a tactic when it depends on results. It is a position when it stands on principle. This is the moment you release the need to know what they think, feel, regret, or plan. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Internalize that fully. You are not quiet to provoke change in someone else. You are quiet because you are done being moved by forces you cannot control." This shift is critical. The moment your peace depends on their response, you are still attached. So you cut the cord cleanly. You stop checking timelines, rereading memories, imagining conversations, or predicting future contact. You redirect attention toward what compounds your life forward. You build skill. You strengthen health. You sharpen focus. You upgrade standards. This is where silence becomes permanent authority, not temporary distance. People sense when you are no longer watching the door. That is when uncertainty grows on their side, because they can no longer measure impact. Your absence is no longer a message. It is a fact, and facts do not negotiate. You do not flinch when days pass. You do not celebrate when weeks go quiet. You simply continue. This consistency rewires your nervous system. You stop craving emotional spikes. You choose steadiness instead. Stoicism teaches that tranquility comes from aligning actions with values, not from external reassurance. So you live accordingly. You respond to life, not to ghosts. You allow curiosity to dissolve without feeding it. You accept that some answers will never arrive, and you no longer need them. This is mastery. The confidence that grows here is subtle but permanent. You walk differently. You speak less but with precision. You no longer feel pulled to prove, convince, or clarify. Your life becomes the explanation. And when or if someone returns, they do not meet the old version who waited. They face someone grounded, selective, and unmoved. That is the power of time paired with restraint. Lock this stage in consciously. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments and commit to it. My peace does not depend on outcomes. Where you seal your transformation by choosing final detachment without bitterness, because the highest form of silence is indifference backed by self-respect. This stage is not coldness, it is clarity. You are no longer reacting, waiting, testing, or observing. You are living fully present in your own lane. Seneca said, "He who suffers before it is necessary, suffers more than is necessary." At this level, you refuse to suffer imagined scenarios or delayed realizations. You stop assigning meaning to whether someone understands your growth or not. You accept that some people will never comprehend what they lost, and that truth no longer disturbs your inner balance. Your energy becomes deliberate. You invest it only where it multiplies your purpose. You protect your routines fiercely. You guard your standards without apology. You do not explain why access is gone, because access was a privilege, not a right. This is where your presence becomes rare, and rarity creates weight. Not because you intend it, but because you finally value yourself enough to stop being everywhere. You move with quiet confidence. You listen more than you speak. You choose actions that align with long-term dignity instead of short-term emotional relief. This level of restraint rewrites your identity. You are no longer someone defined by reaction patterns. You are defined by consistency, direction, and calm authority. When others sense this shift, they either rise to meet it or fall away naturally. You do not chase alignment. You attract it through behavior. Stoicism reminds us that character is revealed by what we do repeatedly. So you repeat discipline, you repeat focus, you repeat self-trust. And in doing so, silence stops being something you use. It becomes who you are. That is the final step. Stand firm here. Do not regress. Do not justify. Do not reopen doors that required you to shrink. Anchor yourself in this identity fully. This is where your journey takes its true form. Silence is no longer a strategy. It is your power, your shield, your unshakable presence. You've learned to step back, to stop reacting, to let actions, not words, reveal truth. You've discovered that your value doesn't require explanation, your worth doesn't need validation, and your energy is too precious to give away to uncertainty or manipulation. Remember Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Every moment you choose calm over chaos, patience over impulse, and self-respect over approval, you reclaim authority over your life. The people who truly belong in your world will show it without you pleading for proof, without you bending to their whims, and without you lowering your standards. This is not silence born from fear. It is discipline, clarity, and emotional mastery. Stand firm in it. Walk with it. Let it shape your reality, your presence, your calm, your confidence. These are louder than any explanation you could offer. Take this power fully. Let it guide your relationships, your choices, and your vision for your life. Subscribe now, stay committed, and keep practicing this mastery daily. Your life, your rules, your peace. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments and own it. I am calm, I am powerful, I am unshakable.